Desai from the Independent Producers Organisation joins me in studio for more. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. Yesterday you issued a statement saying only a state-guaranteed loan can save the SABC from implosion.
Absolutely. This is not a bailout. Let's be clear. It's simply a guarantee that the SABC loans from the commercial banks will be given by the government. So we have heard the new executives, the CFO and the CEO, present their case to us, and we're convinced if the government provide the loan that the SABC executive management are asking for, we would only require one such guarantee, certainly in the coming 4 or 5 years. We think that's sufficient. We've seen the figures. We believe that they can do it. They're competent, as are many of the members of the new board. They need to be given the space to do what's required.
The SABC has been given borrowing powers and a borrowing limit of up to 1.2 billion rand by National Treasury in line with PFMA. Why is that not okay? Why do we need... It appears as though there's always a need for bailouts. SABC is not a going concern. For how long are we going to say, oh, no, we just need one more loan before we steady the ship?
The go-ahead on the 1.2 billion to seek financing has been unsuccessful. We are now at a situation where this is in many ways a parastatal, a government state-owned enterprise. It provides a service to just under 40 million South Africans. Most of them are unserviced, are the most vulnerable parts of our population. Being informed, having an informed citizenry, having a means of communication, having our current affairs and documentaries and dramas, these are key to their quality of life. We can't let them down. This is an incredibly important pillar for South Africa's democracy and democracy building exercise. So we have to put the nation first. Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, needs to put the nation before anything else. We're very concerned by the claim a lot of politicians have made that actually this is a push by Luthuli House to collapse this board because this board has flexed its muscles when it comes to demanding its independence.
What did you make then of the new communications minister saying that she can no longer communicate with the board before these resignations came in, and there's an impasse basically, and people saying that is one of the ways of trying to collapse the board and have political influence asserted over the SABC as we go into elections?
We were very disappointed in one of the first actions of the new communications minister to behave in this way. We think it's irresponsible. She's not putting the country first. It's possibly illegal, and we appeal to her in the interests of the country and the production sector, an embryonic emerging industry in South Africa which has been bleeding over the last few years, not to continue, because our big production houses that belong to the IPO and produce the soapies that millions of South Africans watch every day is now at stake. They're unable to, they've got very huge debts on their books because of late payment schedules. In some cases they're unable to pay salaries and so on. So we're looking at the prospect of blank screens where those soapies sit at the moment. We can't have that.
Yeah, SOS and MMA are calling on producers of SABC's soapies to desist from not delivering programming to the public broadcaster. It's back to that question I asked, at what point do people say that as much as it's important for the public broadcaster to deliver content, it's also important for those producers who keep this industry going to ensure that their staff are paid, to ensure that they keep on going?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a symbiosis here. We're intertwined at the hip, and we need everybody to come to the party. We need the board, and it's still in place despite the resignations, to step back from their call to follow through on the Section 189, the retrenchment process inside the SABC. We need the minister to come to the table to engage. We need the president to make sure that this happens at the same time as providing the state guaranteed loan. There is only one solution at the moment, and that means all stakeholders coming together and putting the nation before their narrow interests, whether they're economic or political.
There has been a call for the board members to retract their resignations and stay so the board doesn't collapse. Why do you believe, or do you have any insight into why they resigned besides what people are saying?
Well, we know that two of them have been named by the Special Investigation Unit in the awarding of an irregular tender while they were part of the interim board. I think that's very embarrassing for those two. It certainly seems some wrongdoing there, whether it's a lack of experience or incompetence or simple corruption is another matter. But we have asked them, we've nominated these people to stand in the first place, and as the IPO, and we want them to withdraw the resignations if possible. We believe we have the requisite quality. The problem we have now is many of them may not heed our call or that of the SOS, and that we're looking at a position where the board may become inquirate in the very near future. That means Parliament, again, has to step up and do what it needs to do in this instance and assert the sovereignty of Parliament over this. They are the oversight of the SABC. They need to ensure that those people that have been nominated and interviewed and are to be interviewed happens with all possible speed.
Krish Naidu, there's a statement that was attributed to him saying that he doesn't want to fight, he'd rather fight for the SABC, he's not trying to fight government, and there's an intimation there that there is something going on behind the scenes, and there is political pressure. So how do you deal with that? And it seems like it's a constant narrative with SABC, not just this board, not the previous board, not the previous board. This is always happening. Someone jokingly said that maybe the SABC needs a cleansing ceremony. That might be the only way to stop these dramas.
What's happened is SABC's become a casualty of the warfare that's been happening inside of the ANC over the last 10 years. Firstly, with the rise of Jacob Zuma and the fight between Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki, and now then between the Zuma faction and those who wanted Zuma out, and now there is a fight back of some things that believes, not in the words of Cyril Ramaphosa that we must co-determine our future, but in the SABC being clearly under the political control of the ruling party. Now we have to take these claims seriously, and we have to ask the parliamentarians and the ruling party and government to step up to the plate and do what's right for the nation. We know that Krish Naidu did not want to resign, but was pushed and pressurised by Luthuli House to resign. That means we ask the question, what is Luthuli House up to in this instance? And we're asking them to stand down in the interests of the nation.
There is a concern then that the SABC may not be independent and impartial as people believe it has been with the new management, the new leadership and the new board. Is that a valid concern, or are we okay for now?
I think that is a valid concern. But not for the moment. For the moment, we have a board in place, and that board has integrity, and it means we have to give all possible support to the board. The unions inside the building need to give their support to the board, and we need together to come together and pressure government to do the right thing. They know what the right thing to do is. They just need to do it now.
Thanks so much for your time, Rehad Desai on SABC News. On the issues affecting the public broadcaster and the resignations of those 4 board members, we are following that story and keeping you updated. It's over to you for some sports. Nompumelelo.